Shadows of Trust. My name is Amara. I am 31 years old. I have been married for 6 years to Daniel, who is 33. When we first met, I thought he was the most honest and kind man I had ever known. He was successful, charming, and seemed to care for me deeply. Our life together was beautiful. We had a comfortable home, a small garden, and a lovely car. Daniel often told me, "Amara, you are my everything," and I believed him with all my heart. At first, everything was perfect, but slowly small things began to change. Daniel started coming home later and later. He stopped answering my calls immediately. Sometimes he would say he was stuck in traffic, sometimes that he had an urgent client meeting. I wanted to trust him, so I ignored the feelings of doubt creeping into my heart. One night, Daniel came home after midnight. I had prepared dinner and waited for him. When he entered, I asked softly, "Where were you?" "Just work, Amara, don't worry," he said. But his voice didn't sound sincere. His eyes were tired and distant, and I felt a shiver run down my spine. Later that night, Daniel took a long shower. My heart beat fast with an unknown feeling. I looked at his phone, which was on the table. Hesitating, I swiped through the messages. My chest tightened. There were dozens of messages from a woman named Elise. Her messages were filled with hearts, smiles, and words like, "Thank you for today. I feel so happy when I'm with you. Can we meet again soon?" I froze. My mind went blank. My husband, he was cheating on me. My hands shook. My eyes filled with tears. When Daniel came out of the shower, I threw the phone at him. "Who is Elise?" I shouted. Daniel froze, startled. "Amara, please listen." "Don't lie," I shouted. "You've been seeing another woman behind my back." Daniel stepped forward, trying to hold my hand. I pulled away sharply. "It's not what it looks like," he said. But I didn't want to hear him. I was angry, hurt, and betrayed. That night I told Daniel to leave. He didn't argue. He just looked at me with sad eyes and whispered, "Amara, someday you will understand. I hope that day comes before it's too late." Then he left. The following weeks were the hardest of my life. I cried every night, my heart full of sorrow and doubt. Daniel didn't call. I didn't call. I tried to convince myself that I didn't need him, but my heart refused to listen. One afternoon, I was walking home from work when I saw a woman standing near the bus stop. She was thin, holding the hand of a little boy. She looked familiar. My heart stopped. It was Elise, the woman from Daniel's phone. I walked toward her, trembling with anger. "So you're the one taking my husband," I said sharply. Elise looked shocked. "My husband?" she asked. I glared at her. "Don't pretend. I saw your messages. I saw your texts to him. You are with my husband, Daniel." Tears filled her eyes. She looked down. "Mrs. Amara, please, you've misunderstood," she said softly. I stared at her, furious. "Misunderstood? Then tell me the truth." She swallowed hard and began to speak. "Daniel isn't cheating on you. He has been helping me and my son." I froze. "Helping you?" "Yes," she said, tears rolling down her cheeks. "My husband died 2 years ago. Before he died, he made Daniel a promise to take care of me and my son. Daniel has been keeping that promise ever since. He didn't tell anyone because he didn't want sympathy or praise. He wanted to help quietly." My throat went dry. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Elise took out her phone and showed me screenshots, bank transfers, hospital bills, doctor messages, all from Daniel. He even sold his car last month to pay for my son's surgery, she said, sobbing. Tears filled my eyes. My legs went weak. My heart felt heavy. Daniel had not lied. He had been saving a child's life. He had been helping a widow. My anger, my doubt, my pain, all of it crashed down on me at once. I realized I had thrown away my husband out of misunderstanding. I called Daniel again and again, but he didn't answer. I sent texts begging him to come home. No reply. Days passed. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. Every night I saw his tired face and remembered his words, "Someday you will understand." Finally, I decided I had to find him. I went to his office. His secretary told me he hadn't been in for a week. I asked his friends, but no one knew where he was. I felt panic rising in my chest. 2 days later, I got a call from the hospital. "Mrs. Amara, your husband has been in an accident," the voice said. My heart stopped. I ran to the hospital. There he was, Daniel, lying on a bed, pale, with bandages on his head and arms. I fell to my knees beside him, crying, "Daniel, please open your eyes. I'm so sorry." His eyelids fluttered. Slowly he opened his eyes and smiled weakly. "Amara, don't cry. You look beautiful when you smile." I took his hand, trembling. "Why didn't you tell me the truth?" His voice was gentle, soft, and full of love. "I wanted you to love me for who I am, not just for what I do. I didn't want you to feel guilty or burdened. I just wanted to do what was right." I shook my head. "I was stupid. I doubted you. I shouted at you. I threw you out." He smiled faintly. "It's okay, Amara. Love isn't about being perfect. It's about understanding, even when the truth is hidden." I begged him to come home soon, to forgive me, but fate was cruel. That night Daniel's body gave up. The doctors tried everything, but he didn't survive. The man I doubted, the man I misunderstood, was gone forever. After the funeral, I found a letter in his bag. I opened it with trembling hands. It read, "Amara, I never wanted to hurt you. I only wanted to keep a promise to a friend and help a child in need. You once told me you wanted to love a man who makes the world better. I tried to be that man for you. Please don't blame yourself. Live your life. Be kind. I will always love you." I held the letter close to my chest and cried until I had no tears left. In the weeks that followed, I visited Elise and her son often. The boy called me Aunt Amara. Every time he smiled, I saw Daniel's kindness in him. I prayed for Daniel's soul every day. I prayed for the children he helped. Sometimes at night I look at the stars and whisper, "I thought you were a liar, Daniel, but now I see the truth. You were never just my husband. You were my true love. You saved lives even when I couldn't understand. I wish I had seen your heart sooner and loved you without doubt." I have learned something important. True love is not always visible. It is not always easy to understand. It can be quiet, patient, and hidden behind actions. True love is not just about words. It is about sacrifice, courage, and heart. Now, 2 years later, I continue to live my life, carrying Daniel's love in my heart. I teach kindness and empathy to others, and I cherish every smile I see on the children he saved. Every act of love he did, I remember. Every promise he kept, I honor. Daniel taught me that love is not about perfection. Love is about trust, sacrifice, and understanding. Even though he is gone, his heart lives on, in me, in Elise, in her son, and in every life he touched. I will never forget him. I will never forget the lesson he gave me, and I will carry his love with me forever.